The UK grooming gang scandal has been going on for years, where women and children, decades, where women and children have been mass raped by men predominantly of Pakistani origin, and they target the victims because they're white. The government has covered it up, and many of the victims have not seen justice because the government doesn't want to be called racist. Rupert Lowe launched a privately funded inquiry to gather testimonies, gather evidence, push for accountability, and give survivors a voice and say, hey, someone is listening, someone cares, we're trying to do something after all these years of letting it go and covering it up. So the rape gang inquiry held public hearings in February 2026 for about 2 weeks. And then in early June, Rupert Lowe read some of the testimonies from the inquiry in Parliament, and it's really tough to listen to, but I think it's important that we do listen to it. He posted on X, "I want the world to hear what we heard."
Firstly, I would like to thank the 260,974 British men and women who signed the petition to make this debate possible, and I want to welcome these brave survivors who are sitting behind us in the hall. This debate is about them. As you quite rightly say, it's not about politics. I want the world to hear what we heard during the 2 weeks of our independent rape gang inquiry hearings, an inquiry that should never have needed to happen. I sincerely urge this Parliament to listen to the testimonies from these brave survivors and to act, to finally act. So the first testimony: he took his pants down, penetrated me, had sex with me. He then stopped before ejaculation. He picked up the bottle of Jack Daniels, which was now empty, and he forced it up inside me. He broke the glass while he was there. At that point, I was about 12, nearly 13. Another testimony: I was held down by the men as they each took turns to orally and vaginally rape me, taking it in turns to pin down my arms and my legs. When the assault ended, the men hit me repeatedly, threatened to find me, kill me, and harmed my loved ones if I ever told anybody what had happened. Another: comments were constantly made suggesting that white girls, the Christian girls, were viewed as having fewer morals or lower values, whereas Muslim girls were described by some of the men as having dignity and higher moral standing. These comparisons were used to justify the way I was treated and to further humiliate and control me. Another: she was a white woman herself, who I imagine may have been groomed, and has obviously now married into the family, shouting obscenities at us. Throughout the whole sentencing, she was constantly saying, "Fucking liars, lying white bitches." She said to me that God will be the witness for what happens to me. Another: race did play a part and motivated the selection or demographic of the victims. Throughout my exploitation, the other girls I encountered or who were abused alongside me were almost exclusively white. Another: she had a baby by him, and his dad was an imam. His dad knew. And he got his son married and said that he wasn't allowed to see the child. They look after their own community. Another: over the course of the abuse, I was raped by multiple police officers in different parts of the country. Another: he put a cigarette out on the baby's face. Another: it started when I was 13. I was raped by probably about 600 or 700 different men over 3 years. Another: they would toot the horn of the car, and then a child would be taken to the front door by a staff member of the children's home. Another: I was bleeding from both my vagina and my back passage and was so swollen I could not sit down. I told hospital staff my drink had been spiked and I did not know what had happened because I was too afraid to tell the truth. They did not ask any questions. They gave me tablets and discharged me. I was 15 years old. Another: Things would escalate around Eid and holidays. Parties got bigger, got worse, got more violent. More people involved, more girls involved. The parties were just bigger. Another, the main clash that I kind of had with the religion side of it was I grew up as a Christian. I would wear my cross because it was something really special to me. It was just used as a way to break me down. They said, "Where is your God now? Has your God forsaken you?" Another, it was all of the white girls in every home that I went to. I remember a man opening the back of a van and I saw 15, 20 girls locked in dog cages. Another, dogs were brought in and I couldn't move at all. I had nowhere to move. I think that was the scariest thing, was not having any concept of it. There were men around me, not horrified, not disgusted, not helping, but filming and laughing, making bets on whether the dog could actually rape me or not. And yes, I was raped by a dog. The man just held my face, stared me down straight in the eyes, and he wanted to see me break, and he did. Another, I just wanted to stop and not happen to any other children, and for people to actually act, to do something and stop being so scared. I could continue for hours and hours. All of us in this building have a responsibility to finally act. Not to talk, but to act. Our Rape Gang Inquiry report will be released in the coming days. It will change Britain for good. Thank you.
This is a tiny snippet of what has happened. There are hundreds of thousands of victims across Europe raped for being white. And the government covered it up, and they're telling the people that talk about it, they're calling them racist. Actually, to be more specific, they're calling them terrorists. Because in the UK, under the Labour government, Starmer's leadership, you're considered a terrorist if you hold the belief that Western culture is under threat from mass migration and lack of integration by certain ethnic and cultural groups. So if you talk about the truth, you're a terrorist, per the government's own guidelines. Yeah, let's let in Mohammed, who has known ties to Al-Qaeda. Come on in. The taxpayer will pay for your stay, pay for you to have 8 kids who don't assimilate and only hang out with other aspiring terrorists from the same countries, creating a subculture of jihad. But it's me who's the terrorist. It's Eva who's banned from entering the UK. It's Tommy Robinson who went to prison. And then, of course, Henry Novak's murder is all over the news because it's awful. And the leaders aren't happy that the world knows the truth about what's happening in the UK. Starmer actually blames Elon Musk for creating the division.
We need to also assert who we are as a country, because Musk, again, has been interfering in our politics in the last few days, trying to whip up division. That is not who we are in Britain.
I hate it.
In Britain, we are reasonable, tolerant people. When we have a terrible case like Henry's case, Henry Novak, we react calmly, as his family have done. When it comes to disgusting images on Grok, we take Grok on and fight, because that's who we are as a country.
Soft beta wanker. Starmer cares more about the collapse of his political ideology than the consequences of it. He is mad Elon has amplified the truth about what's been happening in the UK. He wanted to get away with the cover-up because, never forget, Keir Starmer was head of the Crown Prosecution Service from 2008 to 2013, which was during the height of the rape gangs. And he dismissed the victims and aided in the cover-up of these grooming gangs. Again, because he was more worried about racism than protecting his citizens. And now he wants to point the finger at Elon Musk instead of facing the realities his leftist policies created, all for votes and power. Don't show the public the truth. Call them racist if they talk about it, because the only way to stay in power is to lie and convince the native population that they must tolerate everything and everyone, and then anyone who doesn't tolerate it is insert whatever bad name here, Nazi, fascist, bigot, racist, whatever. It's why Starmer wants to ban X in the UK. He knows the lies he and these leftist governments have been peddling will be the end of their power if the truth comes to light, if people get access to real news. He wants to blame Elon. Yeah, that's convenient. If it wasn't for Elon buying X, the world wouldn't know about the UK's mass cover-up and Starmer's involvement in it. They wouldn't be able to talk freely about it. Starmer likes to call everything dangerous speech. Leftist governments love hate speech. You think Elon doesn't understand the consequences of people calling him a Nazi and a fascist, but he allows it freely on his platform, despite the fact that it's peddling an extremely dangerous narrative surrounding his name, and he has to basically have a private military to stay alive, just to stay alive and fight for the truth. You think Charlie Kirk doesn't understand hate speech? Oh, wait, Charlie can't weigh in here because he was killed by a bullet from a furry that said, "Hey, fascist, catch," because of leftist propaganda. But he still fought for people's right to call him a fascist. As someone who spent years living in England recently, I can tell you what Elon brings to light about the grooming gangs, the open borders, the racism towards white people, safety, everything he talks about. It's not even a fraction of the realities of living through it. So from the bottom of my heart, from every bone in my body, fuck you, Keir Starmer. And thank you, Elon, for saving free speech in the West.